Howdy folks, hope you're doing well. We're going to start with chapter 5 today, looking at the model view controller, or the MVC model, way of kind of organizing our code. So where we left off last week was a bit of a mess here with just one big index PHP file that did a whole bunch of things, took a bunch of different forms, and had HTML, had our PHP code, had some database code, and it was a little bit messy here. So what the model view controller design is all about is not having this giant mess. The idea is we have a single point of entry for our application known as the controller. So when the browser sends a request out, it hits the controller, and the controller's job is to figure out what are you trying to do, and then it uses the models, which is our business logic code, to go and actually do all of our database communication or any other sort of business logic we need to do. And then once it has all the information it needs, it will send you, the browser, a view to say, okay, here's how you would view the data that you've asked for. So we can kind of separate these things out conceptually to getting the request and all of your attributes out of the request, doing the business logic, and then sending you the results in a nice pretty view here. So we're going to see if we can't modify this a little bit here to be a little cleaner. So I'm going to actually make a folder in here for models. And then my models folder, I want a new PHP file. First, I want to have the database file. And what that's going to let me do here is have this database connection code here, which has just been, kind of hanging out here and being a little bit funky. So we'll put it out here, and then we'll try the new PDO thing here as well. Now, we're not going to bother echoing if any of that works here. And really, we probably don't even need to specifically try anything in this model file because our controller can put that inside of a try block and figure out how well this is going to work for us. So the database now will go and connect this. So in our controller file, right, so this will be our controller. The index page is where we're going to hit here. We want to require, and then this require once, we'll make sure it only ever gets loaded one time, which is probably the way we want to go. So we want models database.php. So it'll load from the models file, the database PHP program, or load that file, and then we can go and access these different things from here, which is pretty cool. So again, we're still going to get the action, right? We want to kind of see what things we're looking for out of our request. But then what we want to do is I'm going to make another model file here. So another PHP file. This will be my stock model. I'll just call it stock. What stocks? We'll call it stocks. And inside of here, what we're going to do is we're going to write Php Functions. Now we're jumping ahead just a little bit. We're not going to do too much with functions. What we can do is we can say, hey, I want a function here, and we need to give it a name. So we'll say like list stocks here. And then we give it a set of curly braces. So when you call the list stocks function, we can go and get the list of stocks. So what we were doing before to get the list here, let's go find our list here. This is our query, our statement. We got our stocks and then it closed. So I want to cut all of that out here. And we'll put that in our list stocks function. And then when it's done, we can say return stocks. Right, so we'll get the stocks. We fetched all of them here, and then we'll return it as part of this function for list stocks. So my index file then, I can also then require, probably again require once is going to be the way to go here. Our models stocks.php. That'll load the stocks file. Then what I can do in where we were listing here, I think that was, we're going to list anyway here. So we'd say our $stocks is equal to, that was list stocks. And it recognizes here, they start typing list stocks. It says, hey, from the stocks PHP file, that list stocks function. Well, yeah, that's the one we want here. And now I have stocks. Now, remember, I don't have the catch because that one's gone, so we got to put that inside of a try here as well. So we'll put all of this in a try block here. There we go. That might be a little bit nicer. Now we can catch whatever that exception is and get our message here. Well, again, we can do something a little bit nicer for this a little bit later, but this is okay for now. So in my stock model, then, this is all the business logic. This is all the database connection stuff, or not the database connection stuff, but the database interaction work is going to go inside of here. So we're going to do the same thing for insert then. So I'm going to take all of this out here, and we don't need to do any of that. So I'm going to cut it all out, and over my stock function, or my stocks model, I'm going to add a new function. So function, this will be for insert stock. And then to insert the stock, we needed a couple attributes, right? So we needed to know what the symbol, the name, and the current price were. So when you define the function, you can say, hey, give me a symbol, give me a name, and give me a current price. I think that's zoomed in maybe a little bit too much here. There we go. And so you just comma separate these, just like you comma separate your variables. Again, there's no typing going on here, though, so I don't tell them, hey, this is a string or this is a float or anything like that. We just have to assume they're going to give me the right values. And hopefully it works, which is a little bit funny, but it should be okay. So for insert, right, then we're okay. We're just going to call the insert stock function, and we'll give it the symbol, we'll give it the name, and we'll give it the current price. So you can see it's already kind of cleaning up my code a little bit here, which is really nice. And then we'll do the same thing for update stock. So we'll have another function inside of here. We'll have a function for update stock. Again, I need all these parameters, so I'm going to come back and I'm just going to copy paste here. So we need the symbol, we need the name, we need the current price, and we go and update. So we can call our update stock function in our controller then, if we were going to update. And then same with delete. If we were going to delete, okay, let me go grab all this. So to delete, all we need was the symbol. So we'll go to our stocks model. We'll add another function for delete stock, given the symbol. And we'll do this query. Let's give that a format. Source. Oh, goodness. Where did it go? Format. Alt-Shift-F. Okay, Alt-Shift-F. There we go. I thought that's what it was. I wanted to auto-format. Then we can call delete stock, given the symbol here. Okay, otherwise we give them some sort of error message. Again, we want this to be a little cleaner here. We'll fix that up in a minute. So ideally, our controller doesn't have any HTML in it, which is nice. So now I'm going to come back to my source files. I'm going to add a new folder here for views. I'm going to add some views. So the first view I want to add, let's add a actually, let me go back. Hey, let me cancel that. Let's add a PHP Web Page here. We'll call this the error page. We'll do an error view first. We'll try and clean this up a little bit here. So if we're going to have an error, here, let me get rid of the head portion here. We can just echo out the error. So we'll have whatever that error is going to be. So we had done here, we said, hey, let me give you the error message, and we'll echo that out. So I'm going to cut that one out. We'll put that in our error file here. Error message. So all we need to do is set an error message here, and then we're going to include the views error.php. Right, so include just says basically, hey, go read that PHP file and jam it in where I put include. So it'll add that error view here, which is nice. The other fun thing we can do with views here is I can have, let's do a web page here. How about this is our top nav, or navigation. So yeah, top navigation. So for top navigation, you know, we can set any sort of titles, anything we wanted here. I think we'll be okay. But for the top of our code here, then in the body, where we start the body, we can add in, you know, a link here for href is index.php. We'll call this one home or something. /a. And then if we had other links here, we could keep adding those other links here. We haven't yet, but as you're working with the project, right, you're going to add in the users and you're going to add in the transactions. You could add links then to those other ones here. So this isn't really home. This is more stocks, right? And maybe actually, maybe we want to change this. Maybe this will be stocks.php here, and then we'll change this index file. Let's rename this one here. So let's rename this to stocks. And then let's add a new PHP file for index.php. And index.php is actually not really going to have anything. We can just include the views top navigation.php. And you could also include a footer, views footer.php, and you could add in some sort of shared information there as well. So if we wanted, say, you know, a copyright notice or other thing here, we could have that in. So that will be at the end of the body. Then maybe we'll add another paragraph. No, wait, not. We'll put a body, and then we'll add a footer here, and then maybe we'll add a copyright, or something, was a stock, awesome stock application. There's the copyright notice, I forget which one it is here. That's all right. Copyright 2022. Right, this is Tarneski Corp. What's the copyright? So now I got to look that up here. Let's see. We find a new tab here, and so HTML copyright symbol code. This is not the kind of thing I have memorized. Here we go. Okay, yeah, ampersand, copy. Okay, there we go. That'll look kind of pretty. So we can include the footer then in our page. So then our top navigation, right, we have the stocks page, we'll have the home page. Here will just be the main index. PHP, that'll be home here. And this isn't the body, I'm sorry, this is a header here, and we can add all those in the header. And then if you want to separate them, make them kind of pretty, you can add these, what's it, non-breaking space characters, non-breaking space. Yeah, non-breaking space character. We'll kind of separate all those out here. Let's see. Give that a shot here. Okay, so we've got our header with the links. We've got our footer here. I don't need to add the body either. There we go. We don't need the doc type. Your footer. Okay, I think that'll do for now. Okay, so we got the shared elements, right? So then our stocks page, or you can include the error. Oh, that's what I was doing here. So the error page then could, if we wanted, we can include the other pieces there. I don't know if we want to or not. Maybe we want to on the error page. We want to PHP include the top navigation. And then we want to include the, oops, nope, not cut, copy. And then we will include the footer. We'll see if something like that works. All right, so that's our stocks page. So then the other views we need then are the actual stock list here in the form. So all of this here then is going to go into a stock view. So I'm going to make a new PHP file. This will be stocks is the view here. And then we don't need the header. I guess we can add a title. This is stocks list or something. And then we can PHP include our top navigation. And then we can PHP include the footer when we're done. And what's cool is this stocks variable will exist if we're doing the include on it. So we are footer PHP, and then all of these are going to go to the stocks PHP controller here for all these actions for those forms, right? Because we moved off of index. We have the stocks controller here, and all it does is it requires the models here, and then it gets the parameters out of the request, and then based on the parameters, it does what it's supposed to do. So this should probably be an error here. So let's make that the error message. And then we'll include the error view here as well. Okay, and I think we can just do that. I don't think we need the whole paragraph there because our error message should be fine. And then we'll list the stocks. And then listing stocks. Oh, after we list the stocks, then we can include the, is it parentheses here? That's what I was doing wrong. Include views, stocks.php. I don't remember if it's parentheses. I don't think it's parentheses for include. Wow, I probably should remember that. This is not what I have at the top of my head. Give me 1 second. Let me go double check we're doing the right thing for that. We include, let me go shamelessly copy paste off of this. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so it is parentheses. Oops. Okay, so everywhere I was including there then. PHP include should be parentheses. PHP include our parentheses. footer, sure, top nav, error, include parentheses. We'll get this. We'll get it here. Don't worry. All right, and then we start up XAMPP while we wait here. Make sure Apache and MySQL get started. All right, so I think we're good on all those. This is just our model. This is just our model. So when we're using multiple models to load things here, so we've required the database model, we've required the stocks model, but the stocks model doesn't know that the database model was loaded. We could go in and ask for it ourselves, but we know it already was loaded. So one of the things you can do is you can use this global keyword and say, hey, I want the global database variable here. We'll go and get the global database variable that was defined outside of this function here, which is pretty cool. So we'll throw this in because that way we can actually use the database prepare query thing here. Otherwise, it might probably be a little bit upset with us here. Okay, we'll do those ones first. Let's give it a shot. So functionally, like, nothing has changed in the program. We're doing the exact same stuff. All we've done is kind of broken it up now and added a little header and footer section here. So my stocks PHP controller then includes the list, or includes the stocks view, which has the header and the footer. Right? Probably need to add some breaks in here because it's a little bit ugly. So let's take a look here. So after we do the include, maybe add a line break here, and we'll add another line break here. Again, pretty is not required. I like it to be a little bit prettier at least. All right, let's see if our form still works. Let's add some stocks here. So let's add, who do we want to add? How about Apple, AAPL, right? I think AAPL, their stock, 147.96. Okay, so let's give it a shot. So Apple, 197.46, I think that's what I said. So AAPL, Apple got added. Let's update it here. AAPL, Apple, let's probably did their name wrong here. They are Apple Inc. Okay, so let's fix their name to Inc. And then let's change their value, 197.50 or something. See if that updates. All right, it updates. Cool. And then we can delete the stock. We'll go ahead and delete Apple, AAPL, and we'll delete Apple, and they're gone. Right, and what's cool, again, so I still have these forms. They are waiting to refresh here with the postings. So that's a little bit messy to have it do that. So what we could do instead of that is once we've fulfilled the request, if we want, so include is just taking all that information from the other file and jamming it in there. So in our stocks controller, we just say, hey, include here, we're good. What we can do instead, once we've done an insert, an update, or a delete, we could redirect them back. So a redirect is a header, and header then we'll say location, and then for here we want to just go, I think it's just back to our own page. Ought to do it here. Let's try that and see. So this will redirect them back to the page with a GET request, not a post. So it will do the post, then send them back with a GET request back to the main location here. Let's see, I think that ought to do it. Let's see, we might need to say, let's try stock.php actually. Let's try that. Okay, so let me give it a save, give it a run. We'll go to our stocks page, and then we'll try and add those again here. So we'll add Apple 147, sure, we'll add. And then if I refresh, right, there's no extra form to submit. So if I do F12 for the dev tools here, and we take a look at the network section. So let's see, I want the network requests here. So when I look at adding the stock, let's go to delete here. When I delete stock, you'll see a stock request got a 302 status. So our request here was a post here, and we were sending this payload of, here's the symbol with an action of delete. So it got it, and then it gave us this 302. So the header is a redirect, says, okay, sure, go here now, and we're redirecting us to, where did it say? Redirect, that wasn't it, was it? It was response. Yeah, it says redirect to stocks PHP. So then we send another request through here. This was just a GET request here. There's no payload on this one here, because all we did was just a plain GET. We redirected back. So it means I can refresh the page now and it won't say, hey, do you want to resubmit that form? Just a little bit nicer here. So Apple Inc. 150, we go add stock. Again, we see the payload, all the information here came from the form, and then it redirected us back with that 302 redirect back to stocks just to load with the GET request. So I can just hit refresh as many times as I want without resubmitting twice. Okay? Awesome. All right, so we've kind of modified this here now. Again, we haven't really gained anything functionally. You could argue the top nav and footer, we've gained a little bit. We could have done that before. We could have done those includes before without the MVC model. But the idea here is we want all of the controller stuff in the main PHP file. So when you send a request in, the controller's job is to get the parameters and figure out what you want to do, call the business logic, and then send you the right view, whether or not that's going to redirect you back or include some sort of error message or whatever we wanted to do here. Now you can't header to the error page because you won't have that error message value, right? We've got to kind of include that one here. Otherwise, it's not going to work very well for us with those error messages. You just kind of include those errors. It'll look a little ugly, but it'll be what it is. So, and you can always just go back. So we'll see. So if I turn off MySQL here, and we try and go back to the stocks page, it's going to error out because the database won't respond. We get, here's the error message. But we still at least, get our header and everything here. Okay? Awesome, folks. So I'll see you in the next video.